I would like to extend congratulations to Deputy Mohammed Hassan al-Zuhouri, wishing him the best of luck in performing his job to serve the Arab nation. The Secretary General of the Arab Parliament, in the name of Allah, the speech of Mr. Adel bin Abdurrahman al-Assoumi, the spokesperson of the Arab Parliament. Your Excellencies, the members of the Arab Parliament, the permanent representative of Kuwait, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, peace be upon you. I would like at the outset to welcome you all at the inauguration of the second session of the meeting of the Arab Parliament, thanking you for your collaboration to serve the interests of the Arab nations. Let me welcome on behalf of you all the participants who are honoring us by attending this session. We'd like also to welcome the representative of Babutain Cultural Center in Kuwait, and also the delegate of Bahrain, and Dr. Jassim Mohammed El Yaghouth, deputy head of the Arab Media Federation. We are honored to have you all with us today. Distinguished guests, our session today is held while the Palestinians are suffering from bombardment and invasion over 100 days, and they are suffering from genocide, as a result of which thousands of innocent are dead. Most of them are women and children, and thousands of injured ones who are dying because of lack of medication, as well as the destruction of hospitals and infrastructure. And the Israeli occupation prevents the entry of the humanitarian aid into Gaza Strip. The modern world has not witnessed a graver humanitarian crisis like this, as this has become a collective graveyard for the Palestinians. Despite the daily testimonies regarding the ferocious acts committed by the Israeli forces on part of international representatives who are witnessing what's happening on the ground, yet this did not change anything, and the international community is still sufficing by playing the role of the viewer. We warned several times from getting used to this scene and the daily war crimes that are committed in Gaza Strip, and unfortunately we have achieved this grave moment in which the world is living with the genocide and tens of martyrs and injured ones in Gaza Strip, as if they are just figures and numbers. Distinguished guests, at the time when we condemn these shameful stances of international representatives and the stances of the governments of these countries who has blood on their hands from the civilians who were killed. So we need to stand in appreciation to the stances of free countries that are supporting humanitarian causes, justice, and are defending their humanity and their liberties. And here I would like to commend the Republic of South Africa in your name. The leadership, the government, the parliament, and the people of South Africa for its historical stance and the unprecedented position they took through filing a lawsuit against the Israeli forces in front of the International Justice Court to defend the position of Palestinians. We commend also the stances of the countries who are supporting this lawsuit, and in appreciation of this courageous step from the Arab Parliament decided to give Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of South Africa, the international honor in the name of the Arab nations, and it's the best order that can be given to international leaders who support the causes of the Arab nation. And this is a simple message through which we are trying to express our thanks and appreciation to the humane position of South Africa. Distinguished guests, the trial of this occupational entity before the International Justice Court is a first step that should be followed by other steps. the session of the International Justice Court, so that this is a fragile entity that understands nothing except the language of weapons. And in this framework, we need to stand and admit that what happened since the 7th of last October with all the disaster and the dilemma and the sufferings of the Palestinians, yet it is a turning point, an important turning point in changing how the world views this Israeli occupation, as well as understanding the just cause and the just rights of the Palestinians. And here I'm talking about the peoples of the free world and not the Western racist governments who have blood from the civilians on their hands and are still insisting on supporting the war criminals through the Israeli occupation. And we re-emphasize once more that the international position from the genocide and the massacres committed since last October should be a turning point through reconsidering the international world order and the mechanism of decision making, as it is unacceptable that one country would prevent the will of the international community from doing anything because it is supporting this entity that is infringing all international laws and resolutions. Our Arab nation is going through a very critical, difficult moment that necessitates a lot of work. What is happening in the state of Palestine, although it is the most dangerous scene, yet it represents a cycle in a long chain and series of unfortunate events that are becoming more risky. And I'm not talking about one crisis. The conditions in Yemen, Syria, Libya, and Sudan, with their different seriousness, is still a series of crises unable to be solved and need mechanisms and Arab unconventional solutions to reduce the sufferings of the Arab nations in these countries. And in this context, I would like to emphasize the preparedness of the Arab Parliament to cooperate and to contribute to reaching political final solutions to these crises. And I would like also to emphasize that the Arab Parliament condemns the Memorandum of Understanding signed between Ethiopia regarding the land of Somalia region. This is not only a violation of the sovereignty of Somalia and the sanity of its territories, but it also threatens the Arab national security. So we support the resolution of the Arab League of States regarding full support to Somalia, regarding considering this memorandum of understanding invalid. And we are calling on Ethiopia to stop fully from these unilateral acts that threaten stability and security in the region. Before wrapping up, I would like to mention that we as Arab nations, if we cannot stand in the battlefield with our brothers in Palestine, then we need at least to provide them with financial and humanitarian aid and keep boycotting their products and inviting all countries in the world to boycott all the products of the occupying countries. And we need all to have one stance regarding the prevention of the forced evacuation of Gaza Strip and trying to dissolve the Palestinian cause. And this is the final objective that the occupying forces are trying to achieve through the daily massacres. I would like also, in your name, to extend greetings and appreciation to our brothers in the state of Palestine, those who are confronting death on a daily basis and going on in a battle to defend their sacred lands and territories, in preventing the Israeli forces from taking over their land. And we pray to Allah for their souls and the spirits of their martyrs to rest in peace. And we pray for the speedy recovery of the injured ones. And we would like to extend thanks to you, the members of the Arab Parliament, for your devoted efforts to serve our Arab nation. And we'd like to extend thanks to the Secretariat of the League of Arab States under the leadership of Secretary General Ahmed Abu al-Ghait, for the facilitation they did to host the sessions of the Arab Parliament at its premises. And thanks to the Secretariat of the Arab Parliament, Mr. Kamel Al-Sha'rawi, for organizing this session. And I would like to thank the media for covering this session, praying Allah to support us all to achieve the interest of our Arab countries. Thank you and peace be upon you. And now the Secretary General would read the second item. The third item, the apologies and the absence. The members following have apologized: Ahmed Abdallah Gahuri, Ahmed Haj Dali, Hamam Al-Fitlawi, Khalil Atiyah, Saeed bin Hilal Al-Saadi, Sheikh Sha'lan Al-Quraym, Salih Awad Nasser, Ali Al-Khaylayla, Ali Izaid Shadli, Gayed Shahat Al-Ghul, Muhammad Ayash, Nazim Al-Shiblawi, Wahid Al-Zu'al, Yusuf Mahmali. They all apologized for not being able to attend this session. Let's read the fourth item. The fourth item, the adoption of the minutes of the two previous sessions. The first minutes is from the fourth session that was held at the headquarters of the League of Arab States in Cairo on the 14th of October 2023, and the second minutes is that of the session for Palestine under the slogan the support of Palestine and Gaza, held at the headquarters of the League of Arab States and the Arab Republic of Egypt on the 28th of December 2023. Your Excellencies, the members of the Parliament, you received the provisional agenda for this session. Do you have any comments on this agenda? Okay, then we adopt the minutes and the provisional agenda. Go on, Mr. Councillor. Item 5, the report of Palestine Committee. Member of Parliament Fahmy and the member of Palestine Committee will present to us the Palestine report and wish it will be brief. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Thank you, the Speaker of the Parliament. The meeting of Palestine Committee was held last Thursday at the headquarters of the League of Arab States with the attendance and the presidency of the Speaker of the committee and the members and brothers, Dr. Abdel Karim Khoshal, Ms. Ihsan Barakat, Ms. Sheikha bint Yusuf al-Jafari, Brother Asaf, Muhammad al-Yamani, Mahmoud al-Salihi. And this meeting was not attended by the following: Hamdan al-Azmi, Khalid al-Aitibi, and Muhammad al-Kouri. And Dr. Abdel Salam Wusil was not able to attend due to a technical problem on our part in the presidency of the committee and in the secretariat in particular. At this moment, I would like also to convey to you the greetings of Qaid al-Ghul and Salah Abu Nasser, who were not able to attend this session of the Arab Parliament because they live in Gaza Strip and there is no place in Gaza Strip for them to inhabit and live. At the beginning of the meeting, our brother, the Speaker of the Parliament, welcomed the member of the Parliament and he read a report about the activities, and they talked in details about the messages made by the Speaker of the Parliament and the head of the committee to all competent entities, be it at the international level or the regional level. The meeting discussed the details of the status quo in Gaza Strip and West Bank, because what's taking place in West Bank reflects what happens in Gaza Strip. And after discussions and long deliberations, we adopted the draft communique you have in your hand, and we discussed the change in the name of the Israeli occupation, because we will call it the forces practicing occupation, and there were a number of suggestions, be it to call it Zionist entity or the Zionist enemy or the state of occupation, and at the end the committee agreed on submitting to the parliament to adopt this term, the entity of the Israeli occupation, so that it would be used in the correspondence of the Arab parliament, as every word describes politically what happens, and it is different from all previous descriptions. The communique that was circulated amongst you, and I won't read it because it's introduction, because we have a number of fixed issues in this communique, but there are a number of elements here. The communique, I'm asked to be brief. That's why I want to be able to read the communique. But briefly, the communique talks about the period between the previous session last month up till now. There are no radical differences and developments, with the exception of the deliberations of the International Court of Justice, according to the lawsuit submitted by South Africa, and we support all the countries that are supporting South Africa. And yesterday there was a statement made by South Africa that the countries that supported are not partners directly now in this lawsuit. They declared this only, and you have the communique in your hands. I wish that you would read it, and we are fully ready for any discussions regarding the communique. And there might be a number of new issues that would be discussed, but there are three main issues. The first is working on ceasefire as well as withdrawal from Gaza Strip, as there is direct talk now on part of the Israeli occupation about being in Gaza Strip for a long period. Secondly, there is a priority to search seriously and to enforce immediately Resolution 2720, especially regarding humanitarian aid and providing medication and the requirements of decent life for Palestinians. And of course, you have seen in the videos and in the news what are the sufferings of the Palestinians, and we find that one of the physicians in Palestine had to amputate the leg of his nephew in his kitchen without any medical tools or medical supplies and without anesthesia. And also a new issue regarding how the Israeli occupation deals with the Palestinian state and the two-state solution, according to which this issue was raised at the international level, be it in the US or in Europe. And once more, they talked about the Palestinian sovereignty and the right of the Palestinians to have a Palestinian independent state. Anyways, any solutions that would trespass the Palestinian rights and would turn around the Palestinian rights would cause instability and insecurity in the Middle East. So the only solution and the only pathway to achieve stability in the Middle East would come only through establishing a Palestinian state. And finally, let me say to the members of the parliament that the Palestinians feel that they are alone on their own and that the international community is not supporting them because the bloodshed did not stop, and they did not receive even a sip of water, to the extent that they are dying and the danger of migration still exists. And that's why we remember what Tawfiq Ziyad, the Palestinian poet, said: we are here, so let us drink drink from the sea, and we will be under the shade of the olives and fig trees, and we have hell in our hearts, and we have snow and ice on our limbs, and we'll eat the sand if we are hungry, and we won't leave this place, and we are going to sacrifice, because here we have the past, the present, and the future, as if 20 impossibilities are there in Gaza and in Jenin and Hebrew. You are our roots, so let's hold on to these roots so that the oppressor would take into consideration what's doing, and every action has a reaction. Thank you. After the discussion, and according to the directives of the Speaker of the Parliament, I hope that you would adopt this communique. Thank you. Thank you. Member Assaf. In the name of Allah, thanks be to Allah, and peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, his family, and his companions. And I would like to welcome Mr. Fahmi Zarir for the report submitted by the Palestinian Committee, and I totally support all the measures made by the committee, and I support this communique. Let me, Mr. Speaker, in this brief speech regarding the Palestinian developments, let me read it. Peace be upon you, members of the Arab Parliament. We are convening here in the third session of the Arab Parliament at a very dangerous moment facing our people in Palestine and in the whole Arab region. Since the 7th of last October, the Israeli occupational state has started massacres and genocide, and committing also forced evacuation against the Palestinians that led to a lot of difficult humanitarian crises as well as deaths. And this aggression resulted into 24,000 martyrs and 27,000 injured ones, and the medical sector in Gaza has collapsed, and the people in Gaza lack all means to life, and even water is not available. The Israeli occupational state is imposing unprecedented siege on Gaza Strip and prevent the humanitarian aid from getting into it, and our people in Gaza are suffering from unprecedented famine. This day, the commissioner of UNRWA said that Gaza is confronting today the climax of the war, if it is compared to the previous wars in Asia and Africa. Mr. Speaker, the Palestinians in Gaza are suffering from genocide against international instruments and charters, and is a crime against humanity, and conditions need an international and Arab urgent act to prevent this. Brothers and sisters, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, under the leadership of the custodian of the two holy shrines, King Salman bin Abdulaziz and Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, is standing today and every day to support our brothers in Palestine, and its stance has been known since the Israeli occupation in 1948 up till today, and the Kingdom is still supporting the Palestinian Liberation Authority and the Palestinian authorities, and submits initiatives as well as economic and financial support to the Palestinians. And the Kingdom is considered to be the biggest Arab state that supports the Palestinians, and considers this a duty on part of the Saudi Kingdom. And the last thing presented by the Kingdom was launching a Saudi popular campaign to revive and rescue the Palestinians in Gaza Strip. And this campaign gathered more than 600 million Saudi riyals, and it submitted the humanitarian aid, rescue and medical aid by air and sea to through more than 40 Palestinian planes and 6 vessels that reached Rafah, crossing to reach Gaza Strip through our brothers in the Egyptian Red Crescent to deliver it to Gaza Strip. And also the kingdom held an Arab Islamic joint summit in Riyadh according to the request of the kingdom to form an Arab unified stance and intensify the international pressure to stop this continuous aggression on Gaza, as well as enhancing the efforts to support the security and stability of the region. And this summit designated an Arab delegate presided over by the foreign minister of Saudi and his members from the League of Arab States. And this committee played a role in visiting a lot of countries, influential countries, and it had the positive impacts. Mr. Speaker, today we all stand with our friends in the free world in a unified stance to support our brothers in Gaza and Palestine, and we commend the Palestinian brothers for unifying their stance and their battle against the Israeli occupation. They all stand in one line against this aggression. And we also must continue and collaborate on this path and this stance. At the end, Mr. Speaker, we all, in your name and in the name of all the members of the Arab Parliament, extend thanks and appreciation to the country of South Africa for its just humane position in filing this lawsuit against the Israeli occupation in front of the International Court of Justice. And we pray to Allah for the victory of the Palestinians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, the Arab Parliament, and peace be upon you. Thank you. Member Asaf Abu Thmin, Khalid Al-Ataibi. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to deliver my speech from the podium. And then next would be Sheikh Al-Jafari. He's reciting a verse from the Holy Quran saying, may Allah open my heart, give words on my tongue to express my opinion. We pray to Allah Almighty, who would gather all human beings on doomsday, and He is the most just. And peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, the messenger of Allah, and peace and blessing be upon his family and companions. The Speaker of the Arab Parliament, brothers and sisters, members of the Arab Parliament, distinguished guests, peace be upon you all. I convey to you in our meeting that was held a month ago part of the emotions and feelings of the Arab Muslim person when he looks with anguish and pain at what is done by the Zionist weapons that is destroying the Palestinian territories under the cover of superpowers in the world. The feelings of the Arab Muslim who is proud of the resistance and the persistence of the Palestinians who's on the land. All unjust practices are being committed. I'm speaking to you today while the war on our brothers in occupied Palestine and in particular on Gaza Strip, the honorable Gaza Strip, is taking place. Death, evacuation, expelling of people is committed through these massive massacres, war crimes, and genocide, leading to thousands of innocent losses, especially women and children. I came to you here with a call to draft the Arab Parliamentary Joint Action through a new formula, a formula that would enable us to redefine ourselves for ourselves and to build a bridge between our past and present, and through which we would be able to impose rates that would enable us to hold on to being proactive and to introduce different initiatives and overcome the imbalance in the world, to express the voices of the peoples and to carry strongly the causes of this nation. We are in a dire need to stop feeling vulnerable because they want us to be tame and vulnerable, and some people find that this is a reality we cannot avoid and an unreplaced destiny. The international powers are all working against the Palestinian resisting people, and they are trying through this to inculcate this feeling in the Arab hearts. Then how can we interpret more than 100 days with the international community unable to issue just one resolution for a ceasefire to put an end to the massacres committed by the Israeli forces that turned the Strip into a collective graveyard full of death in each corner and lacks all essentials of life, and in which the people have only two options: either death under shelling and bombardment and strikes, or evacuation and migration from the homeland. Brothers and sisters, I'm not exaggerating when I say that the world is getting at an important historical turning point, and that the Palestinian developments are going through one of its most dangerous stages that would overshadow regimes and countries and would lead to radical changes. Our role is to be keen on turning these developments and changes for the interest of the Arab causes, at the heart of which is the Palestinian cause. The powers of evil supporting the Zionist entity are trying to dissolve the Palestinian cause through the evacuation of Palestinians and through the genocide. And this scene shows us that we are before the gravest crime against humanity, with the total silence on part of the international community that would always be remembered by history, as this is a stigma on the front line of humanity. And the legendary resistance of the Palestinians and their resilience would end the conspiracies of the Israeli occupation and its alliances. Brothers and sisters, the lies of the international community become more flagrant and more visible and apparent with every drop of blood. They claim that they are the developed world and they are the protectors of human rights. And here I am talking about the governments that are supporting those who kill women, children, and elders, and I'm not talking about vivid peoples who took to the streets demonstrating against this shame. And amidst this difficult developments, every day we find that there is an introduction to the collapse of the Zionist force and the collapse of the lies on which the occupying powers have built their presence. And we think that there would be in the future more just balances and balance of powers. And the history shows us that the defeated occupying forces are trying to put an end to the Palestinian resistance through destruction, evacuation, and genocides, but there are still the memories of the resistance through the calls of the grandsons of Nelson Mandela that was adopted by South Africa in the International Court of Justice, accusing the Zionist state of committing genocide against the people in Gaza. And this is a stance that represents a historical moment in humanity at a time when the strong governments are silenced, although they have imposed previously a lot of sanctions on a lot of other countries. And we find now that the occupying state militarily, politically is turning lies, and they are trying to forge history that was against genocide, and South Africa that was liberated through a historical, unprecedented international support was able now to stand side by side with the Palestinians in confronting the whole world due to the absence of justice. And the lawsuit filed by South Africa is the first time in which this Zionist occupying state is taken to court since establishing it. And if the International Court of Justice is able to keep its impartiality and independence and neutrality when it takes its final ruling and make a ruling in favor of the lawsuit of South Africa, this will lead to a clear change at the political level, especially for those who contribute in a way or another to supporting this occupying state in its military acts and crimes in Gaza Strip. And it is not strange that Germany, that has committed the first genocide in Namibia on the other part of South Africa, supporting the Zionist state in the International Court of Justice before which it is accused of genocide against Palestinians in Gaza Strip. Brothers and sisters, the vivid consciences that support people in Gaza should be condemned, appreciated, as this shows that truth would prevail even when we have a lot of unjust acts, and even if the superpowers and the super countries that talk about democracy and protection of human rights are silent. These honorable stances won't only accuse the Zionist state of massacre and genocide, but this also is a trial for the international law, because if it is being neglected or misused and abused, this means that the whole world has become before a big danger. The Zionist entity has a record full of massacres and genocides since the War of 1948 and the War of 1967, as well as Sabra and Shatila massacres, Deir Yassin massacre, Khan Yunis massacre, Kafr Qasim, up till the series of aggressions committed in Gaza Strip over the years 2008, 2009, 2012, 2014, 2021, and the genocide that started last October and is still continuing. Before this bloody record, the International Court of Justice is asked to condemn this criminal entity, as it has before made 12 rulings for capital sentence and 7 rulings for life sentence against Germany in the trial of Holocaust. And in the year 2007, it condemned 90 persons, on top of which is the president of Serbia, for genocide. And the Zionist occupying gang is no different from these predecessors. the Nazists in Germany or the former Serbian regime that committed genocide and apartheid. So this Zionist entity should find the same fate. Brothers and sisters, we as members of the parliament, if we do not have arms and weapons to confront this aggression on our brothers in Palestine, yet we can lead an Arab Islamic international movement to mobilize the support needed to support the Palestinian cause and to end immediately the crimes committed by the occupying forces and hold the occupying entity accountable for the crimes it committed against our brothers and sisters. At this important moment through which the Palestinian cause is going, we need to be united to confront all attempts that want to dissolve the Palestinian cause and expel the Palestinians from their lands. And it is a must to continue protecting our people so as to continue boycotting the products of all those who support the Israeli state and the Israeli forces in the crimes they are committing against the Palestinians. This is the least that we can do to support our brothers and sisters. I stand here today on this podium, in this place, at the premises of the League of Arab States, in which the leaders and the presidents of the Arab countries have always met. And from this same place, I invite them in the name of Muslim and Arab nations to support the movement of South Africa before the International Court of Justice with all the power they have and with all available means to trial the leaders of the Zionist entity as war criminals because of those crimes against the Palestinian people. If we are unable to support this movement, then this is the least we can do, and then to be buried underground would be much better for us. And last but not least, darkness should come to an end, chains should be broken. May God support us for the interest of the Arab and Muslim worlds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you all. Thank you, Member Khaled. Members of the Parliament, would you please try to be brief and speak for only 3 minutes? Do you all accept to speak for only 3 minutes? And I wish that you would all be committed to 3 minutes. Member Sheikh Al-Jafari and then Member Abdu.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of Allah, Mr. Adel bin Abdurrahman Al-Assoumi, the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, Your Excellencies, the representatives of the Arab Parliaments, members in the Arab Parliament, distinguished guests, peace be upon you. We meet today while the aggression on Gaza Strip and the West Bank and all the occupied lands exceeded 100 days after it killed more than 24,000 persons and injured more than 60,000 people, women, elders, and children. And there are a lot of corpses up till now that are under the rebels. And unfortunately, the occupying forces are committing genocides, one of the worst crimes in history. And they shelled and destroyed a lot of schools, houses, hospitals, mosques and camps. Brothers and sisters, the international community stands today amazed by the genocide, the forced evacuation, the unjust siege, preventing water, food, medication, fuel, communication from getting into Gaza Strip. And this is one of the worst crimes that would be inscribed in history, to emphasize the size of the crimes committed by the occupying entity. Brothers and sisters, in our previous meetings, I usually highlight the Qatari efforts to support our brothers in Gaza Strip and in all Palestinian lands. And to build upon what I've presented in the previous mission, I would like to highlight the role played by Qatar for ceasefire and supporting the truce, as well as resuming negotiations to put an end to the Palestinian cause in a just manner and to enable the Palestinians to get their rights back and to protect their sacred places. Qatar continued its efforts to end the aggression and to provide the food and humanitarian rescue aids through food, medication, as well as the medical preparations, and through the directives of Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. May Allah protect him. The Foreign Ministry of Qatar and all other state institutions cooperated with all different parties and stakeholders to end this ferocious war. And thanks to the efforts of the state of Qatar, it was a just impartial, neutral mediator that was able to support the discussions with different parties in this cause, as well as other issues. Qatar was able to mobilize all entities and stakeholders to end the war and to prevent the spread of the struggle in the region, in particular after the aggression of the occupying forces in Lebanon and Syria. That was condemned by Doha and was considered as an attack on the sovereignty of two countries, and Qatar, through its distinguished relations with the United States of America and the Western countries involved. Would you please be brief? And to show the Qatari empathy with their brothers, the Palestinians, the captain of the Qatari football has given Asia Cup to the Palestinians and gave it to the captain of the Palestinian football team. And also the Palestinian songs were there always in all the events. That starts for you, the state and the city of prayer, I pray. Thank you and peace be upon you. Thank you, Member Sheikha. Member Ibrahim Abdu. In the name of Allah, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, Speaker Adel bin Abdul Rahman Al Assoumi, the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, members of the Parliament, peace be upon you. Mr. Speaker, the Republic of Djibouti, our country, condemned the aggression of the Palestinian forces on Gaza Strip and the continuation to target the Palestinian civilians, women, children, and elders, as well as the destruction of houses. That shows how the Palestinian Authority is infringing upon the international laws and reflects the inability of the international community to practice a minimum level of protection for the civilians. And Djibouti, Mr. President, is warning against the continuation of this aggression, as it would widen the humanitarian crisis and would lead to forced migration, especially that more than 2 million Palestinians live in South Gaza Strip now under shelling and strikes, unable to receive their essential needs to survive. And we are calling upon the international community for immediate intervention to stop this aggression and to get back to truce that would be followed by permanent ceasefire. And our state, the people, the government, and the leadership supports the Palestinians at all international arenas, so that it would be able to enjoy its full rights, on top of which is establishing an independent state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Mr. Speaker, at the end, No peace with the Israeli entity except with the two-state solution and having an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Peace be upon you. Thank you, Member Ibrahim Maali. Thank you. In the name of Allah. Peace and blessing be upon the last messenger, Prophet Muhammad, and his family and his companions. Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask us all to stand up and recite the opening chapter of the Holy Quran. Would you all please stand and recite it? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In this speech, I would like to talk about the image of the Arab media and to express in the name of the Arab Parliament thanks and appreciation to all the media efforts made by Arab TV channels that support the Palestinian cause, in particular Al Jazeera. If it was not for Al Jazeera and its correspondents and its analysts, then this clear image about what's taking place in Gaza Strip and the practices of the Israeli occupational forces wouldn't have been seen by the whole world. And I would like to acknowledge correspondent Wael al-Dahdouh for all his efforts, as he has supported before all causes, and unfortunately he lost his family members in this war, and still he's standing up strongly. So we pray for him and we express our thanks to him. And I would like also to say, Analyze Dweri, we are there listening to you, and God willing, Hamas and Gaza and the Palestinian Authority would prevail and would be victorious. And in this context, Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank you for thanking South Africa for what it did. And in this context, since we are inviting the Arab nations to boycott the products of the countries that support the Zionist entity, so I would like to invite all our brothers and all Arab nations to support all the products of South Africa and to purchase these products, since it's supporting the Palestinian cause, the cause of the Arab nation and the cause of the Muslim nation. We, Mr. Speaker, urge the Arab Parliament to do more. I know that you are exerting a lot of efforts, but we are calling for more efforts and more diplomatic pressure on our Arab governments to support this old cause. I would like, Mr. Speaker, to say at the end that the countries that claim to be humane and to support human rights, unfortunately, are supporting injustice. Thus, I invite you, Mr. Speaker, to clarify things. We do not want countries like France, for example, that claim the importance of human rights while it's acting against human rights and against humanity. And we find also that its prime minister and its foreign minister, without any shame, are not supporting the Palestinian cause, but rather supporting Israel. Thank you. Next member. In the name of Allah, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. I would like to thank the members of the Palestine Committee for their report. And colleague Assaf mentioned before that there is a figure in the report that talks about the number of martyrs, the number of lost ones. For the next session, we find that the number of martyrs, the number of injured ones are increasing because of the practices of the Israeli occupation. But today, I would like to say to the state of South Africa that you raised up high the head of the Arab nation. Through this report and through your fight against the Zionist entity and referring this lawsuit before the International Court of Justice, we all wished for that, and this is an important step that we won't waste. And this Arab Parliament played an important role to contribute to the trial of the Zionist entity at the international level. So I want to say that we do not want the Western communities that empathize with us to not know about the developments of the Palestinian cause. Our role as Arab nations and Arab countries to do more internally and externally to support the Palestinian authorities. Now we have a lot of figures, a lot of violations, but where is the international trial? Where is the international condemnation? Of course, this entity would face trials, be it internally inside Israel or outside, with this crime. I would like to emphasize the role of the Arab Republic of Egypt in supporting the Palestinians in Gaza Strip and the role played by the people and the political leadership to support the Palestinian cause in all fields, be it in facilitating the entry of food supplies and materials sent by Arab countries, all the materials provided by Egyptians in the Arab Republic of Egypt. I would like also to emphasize that the Palestinian cause for us as Egyptians is a cause of borders, religion, and I would like also to say that it is the cause of the past, the present, and the future. I would like to express again gratitude to South Africa for what it did that revived the conscience of Arabs, and I wish that all Arabs would wake up and stand in one line to face this aggression. Palestine is Arab, Jerusalem is Arab, and it would always be victorious. Thank you. Thank you. Member Shadia and Member Hassan Barghouti. Peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad. First, we would like to congratulate our new members in the Arab Parliament. Secondly, we would like to thank the Committee of Palestine for the report it developed. Thank you for this great effort as it clarified a lot of points regarding the Palestinian cause. I do not want to be lengthy. because I'm convinced that previously we talked a lot and now we started the action. So I wanted to refer to certain points in brief concerning the support of Palestine. Libyan unofficial institutions dealt with the supporters of the Palestinian cause in an international partnership to provide a medical convoy according to the request of the Palestinian Red Crescent under the logo Palestine Our Cause, that was comprised of 11 intensive care vehicles as well as constructing a field hospital. In this context, I would like to respond to the Israeli defamation of the Arab countries, especially the Arab Republic of Egypt, that it is not supporting the Palestinians and those Palestinians on the border. So from this place, I would like to respond to what Israelis claim, that we as the state of Libya and I as a member of the parliament followed this medical convoy that was sent to Palestine, and it was a support on Arab countries to the Palestinians. So the message we would like to deliver to the Israelis is that the Arabs and the Arab nations still support the Palestinian cause, and we will not fear them, and we will confront them with all possible means. And through following up this work, I would like to thank the Arab Republic of Egypt, the President, the government, and the people, as well as the brothers in the Palestinian Red Crescent. We need to thank them all for supporting us and facilitating all measures to provide this convoy to the brothers in Palestine. And thank you. Thank you, Member Hassan. Now we will move on to the item to honor people, and then we can continue with the rest of the speeches. Now let's read this article. Honoring literate Abdelaziz Saoud al-Battin according to the decision of the Secretariat of the Arab Parliament orders. Members of the Arab Parliament, I'm honored today to honor one of the most important representatives of international and Arab literature. May he rest in peace, the Kuwaiti poet Abdelaziz Saoud al-Battin, who died last December after a long life full of a lot of achievements and milestones in the field of supporting Arab literature through his distinguished contributions that would always be remembered by history, and the contributions of his institution, Abdelaziz Thabiti, through its different programs. Poet Abdelaziz, may he rest in peace, received 7 honoring doctorates from a number of international universities in appreciation to his enlightening efforts in the field of culture as well as humanitarian work to support dialogue of civilizations. And he received also a lot of trophies, awards, and orders to support his efforts at Arab and international levels. And his efforts, may he rest in peace, are not just limited to enriching the cultural life in the Arab world, but he worked at the international level. He introduced to the whole world the Arab culture and its bright part. In addition to a lot of initiatives he launched to support the culture of dialogue and peace in cooperation with the United Nations and a number of international organizations and the Arab Parliament, in appreciation to the efforts and the pioneering role played by the poet Abdelaziz Saud al-Babutin in the field of culture, poetry and literature in the Arab region and the whole world is honored today to honor him and give him the leadership order from the Arab Parliament. That is always granted to those who contributed, to non-parliamentarians who contributed to achieving the noble causes of the Arab world. And we are confident that our sons would continue his path after his death, and his sons would continue these efforts through his organization. In fact, poet Abdelaziz Babutin is an exceptional historical figure who did a lot for the Arab nation. And all Arab leaders and nations recognize him as he was respected by the whole world. We, the Arab Parliament, are honoring those figures who really deserve this honor. So this order that is granted in the name of the Arab Parliament is considered to be from the whole Arab nation and in the name of the whole Arab nation. So we selected the poet Abdelaziz al-Babutin, may he rest in peace, to be the first Arab figure who would receive this leadership order, as he was really a pioneer in this field. Over 60 years, till the last day of his life, he was always supporting the Palestinian nation to be on top of all Arab countries in different fields. And he had also a lot of charitable work in addition to that. That's why I wanted to give this introduction to express appreciation to this figure that we are providing this order to today. And we always commend this initiative of giving order to important Arab figures. So in your name, we wish the poet to rest in peace, and we wish his family would continue protecting his great cultural heritage that we are all as Arabs are proud of. I do not want to speak more. I just wanted to give this introduction to show respect to this great historical figure, praying for his sons the best of luck, and wish you would be the best successors of the best predecessor. And we are confident that the Arab Parliament would always support your efforts through his organization. Thank you. And in your name, I would like to welcome Mr. Saud bin Abdelaziz al-Babutin, the Deputy Secretary General of Abdelaziz al-Babutin Cultural Organization, to receive the leadership order from the Arab Parliament. Your Excellencies, we'd like to invite Mr. Saud bin Abdulaziz bin Saud Al Baboutin, the Deputy Secretary General of Al Baboutin Cultural Organization, to deliver a speech. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad. My brother Adil Osumi, the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, brothers and sisters, members of the Arab Parliament, of course, this honoring today is great for Al Baboutin Cultural Organization because it came from the Arab Parliament and it represents the Arab nations. And this was what has always preoccupied Father, may he rest in peace, developing the Arab culture, the Arab literature, and supporting the Arab nations. And at the same time, we extend all support to the Palestinians, the Arabs, the Arab Parliament for everything that supports our language, our history, and our culture. And here, in cooperation with our brothers in the Arab Parliament, we are supporting an annual award for the supporter of the Arab language through the Arab Parliament, through providing $100,000 annually as an award. Wish you the best of luck, and would you always do the best. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Saud Abdulaziz Al Baboutin. Of course, we appreciate this initiative that comes to continue all the kind initiatives made by Al Baboutin organization, and I would like to make a proposal to the Arab Parliament, and it is launching the award that is suggested to be the award of poet Abdulaziz Al Baboutin to support the Arab language, the Arabic language. Do you all accept? Okay, then we are going to launch this award of Al Baboutin to those who support the Arabic language. And no doubt, we will continue our work together in cooperation with the Al Baboutin organization. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dear colleagues, to emphasize what was mentioned by the speaker, Mr. Adil Al Asumi, regarding honoring this great foundation, Al Baboutin Foundation. And 20 years ago, one of my relatives was awarded this prize. It was given to Dr. Poet Rida Rajab, who is a Syrian poet. May he rest in peace. So deep thanks. And it was for his novel Annab. And it is a village that has its own specificity. So, and he has also a PhD in Arabic. And Al Baboutin also has supported him through awarding him his prize. So thank you very much for honoring those who are responsible for this minaret, this cultural minaret, Al Baboutin Foundation. Thank you. Thank you. And finally, Member Muhammad Hadi Al Houila. In the name of Allah, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, his family and his companions. Peace be upon you. Brothers and sisters, at the outset, I would like to express thanks and appreciation to Brother, the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, and to brothers and sisters, members of the Arab Parliament, for honoring one of the most prominent Arab Islamic figures, giving him this pioneer order in the name of the Arabs. And this is in appreciation of his efforts and the role, may he rest in peace, played. So here we would remember the heritage of poet Abdelaziz Al-Babutin, and we try to highlight his journey full of achievements and noble simplicity. Al-Babutin was a poet who was simple, and he had 3 excellent poetry books that was very distinguished. His words were very smooth, drawing clearly images, touching the hearts. His heritage was not just limited to poetry, but it extended to culture, entrepreneurship, as well as protecting folklore, heritage, and the protection of the Arabic language, and support the knowledge and education seekers. He established a number of foundations and projects that had a great influence, and he contributed greatly to supporting the Arabic language and enhancing it at the level of the Arab world. He established the translation centers. He launched Al-Babti translation project that tried to disseminate the Arab language and the Arab culture through encouraging translation from Arabic into other languages, recognizing its importance. Also, the prizes and awards of poetry creativity to encourage linguistic creativity and to support the Arab poetry so as to use the Arabic language in a beautiful manner. Thirdly, in the field of enhancing the Arab language in the educational institutions, he assumed a number of posts in academic and Arab educational institutions, enabling him to enhance the support to the Arab language and supporting educational programs, in addition to his kind support to students, as he established Al-Babutin to support the education seekers. Fourthly, supporting civilization dialogue, he established Al-Babutin Center for Civilization Dialogue to enhance mutual understanding between different cultures and civilizations, and the Arabic language was used as a bridge for cultural communication. Through these initiatives, Abdelaziz Saoud Al-Babutin, may he rest in peace, played an important role in supporting and developing the Arabic language and highlighted its value in human communication. And may he rest in peace was always saying life and the importance of peace, and planting the tree of peace in Oxford University reflects this noble spirit. He died, leaving to us a number of lessons in protecting the Arab culture and heritage, as well as peacemaking. The heritage of Abdelaziz Saoud Al-Babutin would always be a story full of achievements that would leave an impact extended to the next generations. And God willing, he who left this heritage left also sons and the family keen on continuing these acts. And at the end, I pray to Allah for the poet to rest in peace. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Member, Dr. Mohammed Al-Hawila. The Secretary General, the next item. We will continue the interventions of Palestine Committee and the speeches of the representatives. Signing a memorandum of understanding between the Arab Parliament and the Kingdom University in the Kingdom of Bahrain. I would like to welcome Professor Hassan Baghdad Al-Hajjouj, the President of the Kingdom University in the Bahrain Kingdom, and the accompanying delegate for signing a memorandum of understanding between the university and the Arab Parliament. The Kingdom University is doing an excellent job, and the Arab Parliament is keen on developing education in the Arab world through building partnerships with all educational institutions in the Arab world. So we signed this memorandum of understanding with Kingdom University, and we'd like to invite Professor Hassan Al-Hajjouj, the President of the university, to sign a memorandum of understanding between the university and the Arab Parliament. I would like to invite Dr. Jassim bin Mohammed Al Yaqut, Deputy Head of the Arab Media Federation, to deliver the National Initiative for the Arab Parliament that received the prize of Peace Books.
خلينا نخلص اخوي، خلينا نخلص هذا التكريم بعطيك ان شاء الله. أصحاب المعالي،
Your Excellencies,
إن للأمم في تاريخها
the nations in their histories have days that makes them proud because they feel on these days what they achieved and capable of giving more. The the 12th of December is one of these days as the Arab Permanent Parliament was introduced to become a promising hope for a better future in which the nations of the Arab region would help the governments making decisions. And over a whole decade from 2012 up till 2022, we can say that the Arab Parliament has become an important momentum in the joint Arab action and a strategic effective partner in developing the Arab joint policies, and was able to lead the popular Arab diplomacy that is wise and pioneer. So it has become a wing supporting the official diplomacy to achieve the supreme interest of the Arab nations and defend their causes. In keenness to document this path, the roles, activities, and responsibilities in which the Arab Parliament is working, and the partnerships with the big government and parliamentary entities, we developed a book under the title The March of the Arab Parliament 2012-2022, and through this work we tried to highlight the efforts of all those who enriched the Arab parliamentary work. And I would like to express thanks and appreciation to all the colleagues and members of the Arab Parliament who exerted a lot of efforts to support its work and to express the voice of the Arab nation. And I would like to express appreciation to the committee presided over by Dr. Abdel Karim Qorashi, the head of the political, national security and foreign affairs of the committee, for developing this book, The March of the Arab Parliament 2012-2022. And I would like also to extend thanks to all the members in this committee who contributed to developing this book, all the brothers. And I would like to invite the Secretariat to circulate this book amongst all members of the Parliament. And now I give the floor to Brother Mohammed Al-Amin.
تفضل سعد. عفوا الدكتور الاستاذ محمد، تفضل الدكتور عبد الكريم، تفضل انت، تفضل
دكتور عبد الكريم.
انت من اشرفت على هذا الكتاب.
You supervised the preparation of this book in the name of Allah.
تسمح لي بس دكتور عبد الكريم كلمه.
شكرا سيد الرئيس.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad. Those who do not thank people do not thank Allah. So in this occasion, I would like to express thanks to the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, Mr. Adel Al-Assoumi, for accepting the idea of publishing this book for this decade of activities on part of the Arab Parliament. When we suggested this idea of developing the book either to be for 2 years or 10 years, he preferred 10 years, and we tried through this modest work to highlight what was done by the Arab Permanent Parliament since establishing it in 2012 up till 2022. We tried as much as we can to highlight what was done by the Arab Parliament, all its activities in brief, because of course we won't be able to present everything. And in this occasion we would like to extend thanks to all brothers, the colleagues who did a lot, on top of which is the Secretary General and the team of the Secretariat, without forgetting Dr. Karim, Dr. Yasser, Dr. Ashraf, Mr. Adel, Dr. Mudar. I would like to thank them all, and I wish that this would be the beginning for a brighter future in which we will publish everything that is done by the Arab Parliament to voice our opinions to all Arab countries and the whole world through what is done by the Arab Parliament. Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Dr. Abdel Karim. As you know, when you proposed this idea, I told you I wish that it would cover all those who presided over the Arab Parliament and not only the term of Adel Al-Assoumi. And now, Mr. Mohammed Al-Amin. In the name of Allah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. People from Gaza taught us a lot that we forgot. They taught us to be men, because men are not able to do this. The pupils of Gaza don't listen to us go on beat and fight them. We are patient before you, and you grew centuries over these few months. Our greetings to you, the children of Gaza, and the Zionist era is just something that would come to an end. Mr. Speaker, members of the Parliament, now while we are witnessing the genocide committed by the Zionist occupational forces in Gaza, the Pride, that resulted into 32,000 martyrs and lost ones, most of which are women and children, and 8,000 women, 11,000 children, as well as the death of 50 from the civil defense, and more than 120 correspondents and journalists, as well as a lot of lost people, and more than 32,000 injured ones, and 11,000 who need to travel outside Gaza, more than 40,000 injured ones, and ones who are infected by diseases, and the destruction of 138 government institutions and 100 schools, universities totally, and 300 partially, and 160 mosques were demolished fully, and 150 demolished partially, and more than 70,000 housing units were destroyed, and 90,000 destroyed partially. In addition to a lot of explosions in Gaza, more than 30 hospitals were destroyed and out of service, and also 55 health centers and 150 health clinics, and 150 ambulances were destroyed, in addition to the destruction of 200 archaeological and heritage sites, in addition to lack of water, food, medication, and jeopardizing the lives of a lot of pregnant women because of lack of health care. I'm mentioning all these figures. Maybe the conscience of people would wake up. In this dark image, I would like to extend thanks and appreciation to South Africa for its courageous stance, and this is one of the fruit of awareness and freedom, because he who tasted liberty and freedom is different from others, and we would like to thank all countries that have stopped any cooperation with the Israeli occupation and the Israeli state, like Chile and Venezuela and other countries. In this dark image, we can also see the brave people of Gaza and the brave people in Palestine for showing persistence, resilience. Mr. Speaker, as Nizar Qabbani said, when guns start, then poems come to an end. It's only the fighters who write poems. I know that words are not enough, although words are better than silence. We now need to provide with medication, with funds, the Palestinians to support them after the giving up that we have seen over years. And despite budgets, we need to support. At the end, Mr. Speaker, members of the Parliament, before Al-Aqsa would be different from what would happen upon it. What happened before the 7th of October is different totally from after the 7th of October, because this is a source of pride. And he who has selected the path of glory would not select the path of failure. We would like to invite all countries, governments, and organizations to support the Palestinians and to hold the Israeli occupation accountable for this genocide that has lasted for more than 100 days. The United States is going on to support Israel, and we have seen also a lot of crimes that were done in a lot of countries, and Germany that committed a genocide in Namibia, and also France and Italy. Long live Azz al-Din al-Qassam and al-Aqsa brigades, they selected the best path and they selected either martyrdom or victory, and they would never accept defeat. Thank you and peace be upon you. Thank you. Member Hamid al-Nasiri. In the name of Allah. Peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, Gaza and Palestine is suffering from massacres, destruction, evacuation, genocide, supported by superpowers, but Allah is the greatest. Secondly, we do not accept calling Israel the state of Israel. We do not want to hear it in the TV channels of Arab countries, and we do not want to mention it in our correspondence or our reports. They are not a state. They are expats who were gathered at this place, and they do not have a state, and they will come to an end, God willing. And Israel, Yaqub is the prophet and the messenger of Allah, and he has nothing to do with their acts. And we, the representatives of the Arab nations, are the representatives of the sons of this Arab nation. Palestine is our first cause and our pivotal issue, and I'm a Muslim, and Al-Aqsa is my right. So we never say a state. We say the occupying entity, the Zionist entity. We have followed the Palestinian cause when we were children, and today we realized when we are older that the two-state solution and normalization is the lie of this age, and that the UN resolutions and international laws is nothing. It's just a mirage. And we would like to say that resistance, fighting, and martyrdom is the coming victory, and the victory comes from Allah, the most wise. The verse from the Holy Quran says that if you are victorious for Allah, then He supports you, and the victory of Allah will come through supporting His teachings and jurisprudence. And we pray for the Palestinians to attain this victory. My remark on the report and my question: why didn't you mention the resistance and Hamas? The report did not mention them, and did not mention Al-Aqsa typhoon even. And the resistance was mentioned only once. So what is the reason for that? And we are members that represent the Arab free nations, and the resistance on the land of Palestine has been there since the British colonization of Palestine in the year 1918 up till this moment. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Abdel Karim. Thank you, Ms. Hazza, the head of the session. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you. At the outset, I would like to welcome the colleagues who recently joined the Arab Parliament, wishing them the best of luck in performing their noble mission. No doubt the Palestinian cause now is at a very critical moment in light of the international silence against the Israeli violations of the UN resolutions, the international law, and the international norms. We cannot prevent ourselves from extending thanks to South Africa for highlighting the crimes committed by the Zionist entity. And we also condemn the declarations of the US President that the stability of the Middle East is related to the acknowledgement of all countries in the region of the Jewish Israeli state. And this is a flagrant threat to all Arab countries without referring at all to the two-state solution with East Jerusalem as its capital and the return of the refugees. So this is considered to be a provocation to the Arab nations, showing that this war against Palestine is a religious war. And I would like also to tell the brothers that as Mr. Hamid mentioned, the Palestinian resistance and the Palestinian factions are not mentioned in the report, so we need to change this communique to be in line with the previous communique and refer to all factions of the Palestinian resistance. And we should not call it the Israeli entity, we should call it a Zionist Jewish entity rather, because they call the people in the resistance the villains. And here in this session of the Arab Parliament that plays its role towards the Palestinians under the presidency of Speaker Al-Assoumi, I would like to extend thanks to the stance of Algeria that the independence of Algeria won't be completed unless the Palestinians enjoy their full rights. And I would like to extend thanks to the acts of the Palestinian resistance that revived the Palestinian cause, that was able to come to an end through the rapprochement between a number of Palestinian Arab countries and Israel. And we pray for mercy and for the martyrs to rest in peace and for the speedy recovery of the injured ones. Thank you. Member Abdessalam. In the name of Allah, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, his family and his companions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Greetings to all members. First, in this context, we need to extend thanks and appreciation to the Palestinian resistance and the patient Palestinian people that was left alone in a massacre unprecedented in the whole world. And I would like to express appreciation to South Africa and to send greetings to those with vivid conscience, the free people of the world, for what they did for the Palestinian cause and the cause of humanity. This is Africa that broke the siege over Libya, and this is Africa that said no to the siege on Libya, and it said no to tyranny and apartheid. And now South Africa proves once more that this is a free continent from which freedom and justice arises. So the stance of South Africa should be appreciated on part of all Arab and Muslim countries. And here we'd like to announce that we, as the state of Libya, officially joined the lawsuit of South Africa before the International Court of Justice. Brothers, we talked a lot previously about the Palestinian cause, the injustice, the tyranny, giving up upon the Palestinians, and words are not enough, as tanks and planes are still killing Palestinians everywhere, be it in Gaza or the West Bank or even in other places. And today, brothers, we need to quote from the statement of the Prime Minister of the Zionist entity to be more wise and to think how can we do some work that would lead to the real support of the Palestinians. We made a lot of statements, communiques, we condemned a lot of acts before, but none of them was able to help a bottle of water to get into Gaza. The answer is no. Let's listen to what Netanyahu, the killer, said 2 days ago to realize the crisis we are facing. He said that the battle is not against the absence of a Palestinian state, but about the existence of an Israeli state? Can we say that the struggle with the Zionist entity is an existence struggle and existence battle? He says that any arrangements in the near future without an agreement or without should be for a Zionist state that would have full control on the lands West Jordan. And he says that this is a must. We need to realize that. Do we know what is the meaning of having security control west the Jordan River? It means no Palestinian state. It means that even the Gulf countries are not safe. Who prevents this killer from occupying the Gulf shores or extending to the east or the west? We need to realize the volume of danger. And he said also that any prime minister in the Zionist state should be capable of saying no. Can our rulers say no to the best friends? Or those who claim that they are friends, can they say no to the US? Enough destruction, enough killing, enough destroy? Can we say from this place that every Arab ruler should say no to our friends? I'm not talking about enemies, I'm talking about friends. Can he say no to them? We cannot say no, we cannot say yes, and we issue statements and communiques only, and we cannot say no loud. We have a big crisis. Thank you. I totally realize what I'm saying, and I totally realize that a lot of people would be against it. Peace be upon you. Brother Isa Nasr. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is no credibility for the international organizations to achieve their goals, especially in Gaza war, starting with the UN up till the smallest international organization. This is the result of the Zionist hidden agenda that created a legitimate path for these organizations while the Zionist entity is continuing its genocide against our brothers in Gaza through politicized reports to misguide the international community through accusing a number of Arab countries of supporting terrorism and violating human rights or religious hatred discourse, or accusing the Arab countries of obstructing the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza Strip. These organizations, unfortunately, are unable to accuse the Zionist entity of killing its personnel. And there are more than 180 UN personnel who were killed because of the Zionist strikes on the headquarters of these organizations in Gaza Strip, like UNRWA, World Health Organization, FAO. Mr. Speaker, today, all the legitimate tools failed to end this genocide in Gaza, including the decision of the Secretary General to use Article 99 of the UN Charter regarding pressurizing the Security Council to take a decision regarding this war. Mr. Speaker, the organization is going at an important turning point that threatens international peace and security, and the international community should shoulder its full responsibility and move through exerting pressure on the Israeli state to be in line with the international legitimacy and to allow the humanitarian organizations to perform their roles. Otherwise, we are before a new reality and a continuous failure that the whole international community is responsible for because of the inability of the Security Council to play its role in achieving international peace and security. Thank you. Thank you. Member Naama Siraj. In the name of Allah. Peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, his family, and his companions. Mr. Adel Al-Assoumi, the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, members of the Parliament, Palestine Committee, first thanks to you all for your great efforts to support the Palestinian cause, in particular regarding developments in Gaza. First, I would like to refer to a very important point. We in United Arab Emirates learned to love the Palestinian cause, and that it is the first cause even before learning our first lesson in school. This cause is running in our bloods, whether we're talking about families, adults, or children. This is the first Arab cause, and it is a real cause. No Arab and no Muslim can say something different. So I think today that the big role played by United Arab Emirates, and we refer more to what Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan did, and the founding leaders and their role in supporting the Palestinian cause. And still the Emirati leaders are following the same path. My state does not speak a lot, yet it does a lot. The state of United Arab Emirates, if we come to count what it did, I think the stances of United Arab Emirates are well known, be it through supporting injured ones, giving them the treatment and the medical care they need. As we always say, we do not speak, but we rather do. United Arab Emirates is following the path of the founding leaders, and United Arab Emirates made a lot of diplomatic efforts to end the crimes committed. We do not accept, of course, these crimes against the Palestinians, our brothers. And we cannot be comfortable while our brothers are suffering. We see a lot of scenes that are painful to us, but the leadership of United Arab Emirates has a diplomatic role, and United Arab Emirates did not stop silent. It did a lot through psychological support. And there is what we call the invitation to support the Palestinians. I would like here to send a message that it is not a must to make statements, but it is a must to be confident that this state, since the beginning of the unity and Zayed al-Khair, to work on all levels, and the state is still following the vision of the leading father. We see the leadership of United Arab Emirates, the president, the prime minister, and all ministers supporting the Palestinian cause, the role of Sheikh Sultan Al-Qasimi and all the sheikhs in Emirates. This is what I wanted to say, that the Palestinian cause is an Arab cause, and we always pray for the Palestinians. We cannot live while seeing the Palestinians, especially the children, suffering. What we are seeing in Palestine is something that no mind can accept. So we pray to them. Let me just congratulate the brothers who made the oath today for joining the Arab Parliament. Thank you.
معالي النائب محمد خوان.
Member Muhammad Khwan. In the name of Allah, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, distinguished participants, before the eyes of the whole world, the genocide is taking place in Gaza, and what increases the conspiracy and the bias towards the Zionist entity is clear. Where is the UN from what's taking place in Gaza? Where is the UN Security Council? Where is the International Amnesty Organization? Where is human rights and international organizations? What is the role of the League of Arab States with the countries in the region and their ability to exert pressure? The innocent people in Gaza, unfortunately, do not find that the Arab countries and the League of Arab States is supporting them enough, while the international community is witnessing the Zionist entity violating international charters, instruments, and laws. We have a full crime committed in Gaza against humanity. Tens of thousands of martyrs have died. Gaza Strip now is the biggest prison in the world, and there is the conspiracy and the silence of the United Nations and the inaction of the League of Arab States, and the Zionist entity is committing its crimes. We are astonished by the continuous strikes on women and children, and we all feel pain and sorrow, and our stances is similar to the stances of our peoples. We all show solidarity to the Palestinians, and it is the right of the Palestinians to defend themselves and their lands against occupation. As the president said, the Palestinians are not terrorists. He who protects his country and his homeland and his right is not a terrorist. We need to support them. That's why it is a must to end this aggression and hold the entity accountable. And at the end, we would like to pray to Allah to give peace to the martyrs, and Algeria has always held its stance, and it's against normalization with the Israelis. Thank you. Peace be upon you. In the name of Allah. Thank you. Sheikh Khazaa, the moderator of this session. First, I would like to extend thanks to the colleagues from Palestine Committee for this report, and I would like to emphasize the stance of the Republic of Yemen and the Yemeni people with its different political and civil components in supporting the Palestinian resistance in all occupied lands and denouncing the genocide committed by the Zionist occupation in Gaza Strip. I would like to reiterate appreciation and greetings to South Africa for its excellent stance in filing a lawsuit before the International Court of Justice. I would like to call upon the Arab countries to support it, and I commend the support of a lot of Arab countries to the South African stance. Of course, the communique, the draft communique from Palestine Committee covered a lot of issues and excellent points, yet unfortunately it lacked referral to the support of the Palestinian resistance. So I believe that every communique made by the Arab Parliament should express the support of the Palestinian to the Palestinian resistance, especially the support of the Arab Parliament and the Arab nations to the Palestinian resistance. And the Palestinians are to be supported. Thank you very much. Dr. Hisham Al-Ashiri. In the name of Allah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish, Mr. Speaker, you would make a recommendation to the members.
توصيات الأمانة العامة يحاولوا مش كل الأعضاء ممكن عندهم تصريح إعلامي أو كذا الوضع القاعة يعني شيء مؤسف صراحة توصيات المفروض يشاركوا.
They should all participate because we are discussing very important issues. Dr. Hisham. In the name of Allah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, greetings to the resisting people of Gaza, the heroic people of Gaza that is resilient under the Israeli attacks. We apologize to you, the people of Gaza. We can do nothing but condemnation, but yet we are supporting you. Our hearts are with you, and we all pray for your victory. To the Israeli entity and to its government that calls for expelling the people of Gaza from Gaza Strip, or the attempt to strike Gaza. This is no strange to you because you are not a state. You are an army that's trying to build a state, an army that is trying to be a state, but God willing, this entity and this army would come to an end. A message to international organizations. Masks have fallen down. Reality is clear now. You have written a lot of reports about human rights, and you used to write similar reports about the Russian-Ukrainian war, and now we find that before the war in Gaza, all your reports are silent, absent. Double standards. Is it because the people of Gaza are not green-eyed, are not yellow-haired, are not fair-skinned? This is Gaza that was able to make all your masks fall down. And another message to the Arab Zionists. Despite the massacres and the genocides committed by Israel, we noticed that there are Arab voices in media and in social media that says justifications for this entity. A message to you all. Respect yourselves. Have self-respect. Be humans. History will never forget you and will throw you in garbage. Thank you. Brother Jabir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished members, distinguished participants. I would like to start by congratulating and welcoming our colleagues who joined recently the Arab Parliament. We wish them the best in achieving the goals of this organization. Regarding Palestine, in fact, Palestine is the cause of all causes. It's the essential cause. We all agree on that. Yet, where are we today from what's taking place in Palestine? We send our thanks to South Africa, the grandsons of Nelson Mandela, because they suffered from injustice and from apartheid. Yet, we need to mention, aren't we the grandsons of Abu Bakr, Uthman, Umar, Ali, Khalid ibn al-Walid, Tariq ibn Ziyad, Abu Ubaida ibn al-Jarrah, Azz-ad-Din al-Qassam, Abd al-Qadir al-Jazairi, Umar al-Mukhtar, and others? Where are we now from this struggle? This struggle, if we want it to stay in events, conferences and condemn, then there would be no ceasefire and there would be no right to the Palestinians. The Palestinians are being killed and the whole world is watching. We need to start with ourselves as Arabs and do not depend on international organizations. International organizations, in fact, do not have their decisions in their hands. They depend on those who fund them, the US and others. So, we are asked to take a unified, effective Arab stance. The colleagues talked about boycotting the products. No foreign Western products can get into any Arab country without the approval of the country. So we as parliamentarians need to exert pressures on our governments to prevent importing these products, so that we can form one Arab unified stance. It is a very simple, small stance before the destruction of the Palestinians while watching. Today, we need to mobilize all efforts and potentials. And the initiative of referring the Zionist enemy to the International Court of Justice should have been done by the League of Arab States and the Arab organizations. We should defend ourselves. We are not well organized, and we did not organize well all our pressure and all our capabilities to support our people in Palestine. And we should all remember that Palestine comes first, and then Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, until they end everyone. And if they are able to get us all out of this region, they would not stop from doing it. But they want to be able to do it thanks to the will of the devoted people in this nation. We wish that we would really have one unified stance, one unified decision to support our pivotal cause that well deserves all our efforts. This Palestinian blood is precious to everyone. So we do not want just to talk about it. We need to act. Thank you. Brother Fuad Sabuta. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Brothers and sisters, be upon you. I listened to the speeches of my colleagues, the brothers and sisters, regarding Palestine, and I share with them their pains and their hopes to end this aggression on our people in Gaza. Also, I'm one of the supporters of all Arab efforts that want to support the Palestinians and work on ending this genocide. So I will come to just one point that was not mentioned before. We as Arab nations support our brothers, the Palestinians, and our governments. Each government is trying to provide what is possible to end this aggression. On the other hand, I would like to emphasize a point mentioned by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, in a lot of meetings, be it in his press interviews or in his meetings with the Arab leaders. It is the necessity to unite the Palestinians. All Palestinians should be united first. All these efforts want help us accept when there is a real unity between Palestinians. And I wish that this defeat that we are witnessing now in Gaza would be turned into an opportunity to all Palestinian factions to be united so as to end this aggression and also to see an independent Palestinian state. Thank you. Thank you. The last intervention, Dr. Abdel Wahab. In the name of Allah, thank you very much. The moderator of the session, thank you, dear colleagues, the members of the Arab Parliament. At the outset, we send our condolences to the Palestinians for all the martyrs who reached about 40,000, and we pray for the injured ones for a speedy recovery. Of course, first we would like to emphasize the Yemeni fixed stance supporting the Palestinian cause since the crisis of Palestine started in 1948 up till now, and it will go on until the Palestinians enjoy the rights to an independent state. The other matter is the shameful position of the international community for not supporting the Palestinians and supporting the Zionist occupational entity and allowing them to destroy Gaza fully and to kill tens of thousands of the Palestinians. We commend South Africa for its strong stance, as it is better than the stance of 22 Arab countries and 57 Muslim countries. State of South Africa has a brave, honorable stance in supporting the Palestinian cause. Today, we would like to emphasize to the countries at the top of which is the United States and most of the countries in the EU and the Western countries, that if they want to support the Zionist entity, then they should really do their best to establish a Palestinian state. Stability and security and peace won't be enjoyed by the Israelis unless a state of Palestine is established in accordance with the borders of 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital. We also call upon our leaders and the Arab countries in general to take a more proactive clear Arab stance to support Palestine. We need to have strong, courageous stances. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you. Dr. Mohammed Al-Hawila. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the name of Allah, thanks be to Allah. I think I'm the last one. Okay. So I suggest that we would form a group to support South Africa with its lawsuit. We need to form a group of academia, lawyers, and legal experts to coordinate with the Arab Lawyers Association and the lawyers syndicates in the Arab countries to form a legal experts team to support the legal team of South Africa to support them with their lawsuit before the International Court of Justice. And we commend the Arab Parliament to honor South Africa and grant it an order, the highest order, and they well deserve it, and the president of South Africa well deserves it due to this stance that all Arab countries were not able to take in light of the weak steps taken by the Arab countries in support of the Palestinians and the genocide in Gaza, as about 100,000 now are martyrs and injured in addition to the destruction in Gaza. So we wish that we would support South Africa with an Arab lawyers and academia and experts team. Thank you. As for the support to South Africa, this was already adopted by the parliament. Regarding legal support, you are a member in the political committee, so you might in the political committee discuss it so that we can well study this idea and this proposal, and we coordinate with the Arab Lawyers Federation. I think that now we will discuss this. You approve of it, and then we will refer it to our committee to further discuss it and coordinate. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed Al-Hawela. We, in the meeting of Palestine Committee presided over by the Speaker of the Parliament at the beginning of this week, discussed this proposal that you just shared with us, Mr. Hawela. And the Speaker of the Parliament said that the Arab Parliament prepared a legal committee to support South Africa and also to file a separate lawsuit for the Arab Parliament against the Israeli entity before the International Court of Justice. And this team would be under the supervision of the Speaker of the Parliament with the contribution and the participation of some legal experts. And the Speaker of the Parliament highlighted the procedures. And we will wait for the ruling to be made for the lawsuit of South Africa, and then we will file the lawsuit of the Arab Parliament. So this proposal is under implementation. Yes, very well, and we commend what is done by the Arab Parliament and the Palestine Committee. Accordingly, we wish that there would be coordination with South Africa in this context, and we do not wait until South Africa's complaint is adjudicated and decided upon. As every crime against humanity committed by this entity should be penalized. Thank you. Member Fahmi. In the name of Allah, brother, the Speaker of the Parliament, the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, thank you all colleagues for what you mentioned. And before replying in details, I would like to make some remarks. First, the report was brief. So thank you very much for your stances, your opinions, your feedback. Secondly, we are confident that we as Palestinians and as Arabs will be victorious later, if not sooner. And despite all the sacrifices, the number of martyrs now are more than 25,000, more than 36,000 injured ones. And despite saying that all possibility to live is not available in Gaza, and we are talking now about a famine. Thirdly, one of the dilemmas of this nation that is described by a verse from the Holy Quran, that you are the best nation that came to the world. So unfortunately, we talk rather than act. So they focused on actions and forgot about words. I wish that our actions would precede our words, then our nation would be the best nation. And fourth, this is an important remark. I refuse to make any interview in the past, respecting the deliberations and the discussions of this session. So this session is on air, and next time I will keep sitting here to listen to every member who expresses his opinion, because it is my duty to attend all the speeches and all the deliberations. Maybe next time we will adjourn the session for a quarter of an hour, but what happened today would not be repeated again. I'll start with the comment of Member Assaf, who made a lot of suggestions that were incorporated in the report. And we as Palestinians believe that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has always played its role, and it's always trying to provide what is possible. Member Khalid Al-Ataibi, thank you very much. And I think that he left after delivering his speech. Sheikh Al-Jufairi, Qatar have no shortcoming. It has always done its best to put an end to the injustice against the Palestinians. Member Ibrahim Abdu, thank you for everything you mentioned. Member Mamdouh Saleh, the Arab media, and especially thanks to Al Jazeera and correspondent Wael Al-Dahdouh. First, the Arab media did its best. There are a lot of TV channels that have presence here and there, like Al Jazeera. And I can say that while watching TV, we find that all TV channels are trying to introduce to the whole world the sufferings of the Palestinians. We do not agree, of course, 100% with everything that is mentioned. And as for analyzed wary, we are the ones who suffer. As for journalists, I would like to mention that more than 109 journalists and correspondents became martyrs. Were not injured, they died. So may they all rest in peace. And Wael Al-Dahdouh was a fighter, a prisoner before, and he is a correspondent. He paid pricely. Member Shajjal Jamal, supporting the Palestinian right. I think that we recognize that Egypt is an Arab depth, and she is the big sister of all Arab countries, and Palestine in particular. And we know that Gaza Strip is so important for the Egyptian national security. Hassan al-Barghouthi, we totally appreciate Libya's role. We cannot say that they prefer others over themselves, although they are in need, but Libya is targeted and is suffering like all other Arab countries. All Arab countries are targeted and not just one country. Regarding Egypt, and regarding what was mentioned, Egypt is the only country that did not ask to be thanked in the communique, and it always pays for all the wars and the struggles and the aggressions on Gaza. It suffers from it, and they try to defame Egypt's stance in front of the International Court of Justice. And Egypt is the country that prevented forced evacuation. On the other hand, people said that Rafah crossing is not being opened. There is the occupational presence, and this crossing is there through a European Egyptian-Palestinian agreement. The humanitarian organizations, on top of which is the Palestinian Red Crescent, and all the Red Crescent organizations in the Arab world are playing their roles. I do not want to mention each and every country, but I believe, and we all know this, that all Arab countries do their best and even more than what they can. And we do not blame one Arab country. We do not blame any Arab country because they are trying. What the Arab countries cannot do up till now is liberate Palestinians and Gaza and Palestine. But they tried as much as they can to support the Palestinians with providing humanitarian aid. Mr. Hamid al-Nasiri. For resistance. Yes, because we discussed 3 or 4 talked about not mentioning resistance in the report. No, in the preamble, the Arab Parliament emphasizes its fixed stance, supporting the Palestinian people and its struggle and its resistance against occupation, and I think that this is clear. We are asking to end the aggression. We are the ones who pay the price, and it's our blood that is shed. And since day one, we said ending the aggression, the genocide, and the ceasefire. Since that day up till now, more than 25,000 Palestinians died, and more than 10,000 are lost. So there is hot blood that is shed in Palestine every day. And I mentioned to you that a physician had to amputate the leg of his nephew in his kitchen using only hot water. For us, resistance, struggle, and the Palestinian fighting is never to be considered as terrorism. And the Palestinian resistance is sacred since day one up till now. And what Fath and الجهاد الإسلامي or الكتائب الوطنية or كتائب الأقصى is appreciated up till now, and the Palestinian who dies every day is considered to be a kind of resistance. As we mentioned, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, said in one of his saying that he who cannot confront the wrong deeds would do at least this through his heart. On the other hand, what Dr. Abdeslam mentioned, we believe that the Israeli greed is wide. It covers the whole Arab region, and there is a map that Netanyahu, the prime minister of the occupation entity, has distributed in the UN without putting any borders. And he said that the Palestinians are only 2%, and we can tell him that we are the ones who can say either yes or no. The decision is for us by the end of the day. This is our land, and it is the land of all Arabs, because Al-Aqsa Masjid is an Islamic endowment. So for us, we defend it in the name of the Arabs, the Muslims, and even the Christians. Mr. Isa Nasser, the Security Council and international organizations, we said that this international order right now is dying, and it is uncivilized. because what's happening in Palestine is a stigma to whole humanity. Miss Naima Shahran, yes, I can say yes, United Arab Emirates is helping. It provided aid and assistance through the Red Crescent, and it provided field hospitals. It took a number of injured Palestinians, and they are in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, in Qatar, in Turkey. All the injured ones are being treated in all these countries, and we know that some countries can help with that, others cannot help with that. Not all countries are financially able to do it. So thanks to the contributions of United Arab Emirates, and thank you to all Arab countries for their contributions. Thank you, Brother Muhammad, although he's not here now. No, he's there. Yes, the future for us as an Arab nation and the Palestinian people. Insaf, yes, we talked about a lot of issues. And I would like to tell you that the communique talked about a lot of causes and issues, and we talked about resistance. We mentioned the struggle and the resistance of the Palestinians. But to mention certain factions, we cannot mention their names because we here represent all Palestinians and not a specific faction. Dr. Hisham, thank you. And this land is for us. And Sheikh Jaber, I believe that the Arab nation is unable now to do anything, and it's being targeted, and the Syrian army is targeted like the Iraqi army. So they dismantled the Iraqi army, and there is an attempt to dismantle the Syrian army, and there was an attempt to dismantle the Egyptian army. So we are incapable, we are unable, and for us, the Palestinians, we would carry flowers and roses to all the tanks that would stand on the borders. But right now, the Arabs cannot do anything. And Syria is being bombarded on a daily basis by the Israeli forces. Algeria has never stopped supporting the Palestinians, not only since the time of Hawari Boumediene, but also before him. And talking about the Palestinian national unity is mentioned under item number 10, that Palestinians should be united. And we Palestinians believe that unity is the way to victory, and there is no victory without the unity of the Palestinians and the Palestinian factions. Dr. Abdel Wahab Awada, the stance of South Africa. We mentioned the stance of South Africa in the report, and yesterday, South Africa announced officially that the countries that announced supporting South Africa announced that on TVs only, but is not a partner now in the lawsuit.